Welcome to the podcast Mining Matters, where you can dig a little deeper into developing your English speaking skills as a mining or minerals processing industry professional with me, Kirsten. Each month I will dive into one topical issue affecting the mining and the mineral processing industries. You can listen to a short discussion of the topic by me, and then I will explore some of the background of the vocabulary and the grammar that I chose to use. You can then develop your own discussion of the topic and use these examples to deepen your understanding and bring you closer to English fluency. Now you can choose to record yourself at home and keep the recordings as a record to observe your own improvement. Or you could join my speaking program, get some personal and private feedback from me, while joining in some lively and insightful conversations with other industry processing professionals. I promise you will see your skills transform in ways you never expected, while having fun. Now check out my website in the link for more information about the speaking program and to see if it is right for you. If it is not, I am glad you could join me anyway, and I hope you find the support and motivation you were looking for here. Okay, welcome. This month's speaking program is on rare earth elements. And rare earths are a passion of mine, not the elements themselves, but the geopolitics, why they're so important at the moment, what they offer us, and why I think this might be an absolutely stellar opportunity for people in the mining industry going forward. But before we get into all the fun, the geopolitics, the history, which will be in the next 2 podcast episodes, this first one is just going to look a little bit about what rare earths are. So rare earth elements are governing the modern lifestyle of us today. Although most people are not aware of how much impact these elements have on our lives. But they really do have an important role in modern industrial advancements, particularly towards a green economy. And that's why I'm doing this deep dive into rare earths this month. So what are they? Rare earth elements are a group of 17 chemical elements. You can find them in the periodic table in the lanthanide series. So go on, get out, Google your periodic tables and look for the lanthanide series. That's the bit at the bottom. You know the bit. It looks like the section that they added on after they forgot to include it the first time. Just sort of sitting down there at the bottom on the right, floating 2 rows. Well, the lanthanides are the top row. They're like the email attachment that you forgot to actually attach before you sent the email. All right, now you know where I am on the table. That top row is the lanthanides. There's 15 elements in the top row, but we actually have 17 in rare earths because we include yttrium and scandium. Now they're not lanthanides, but we call them rare earths because of their similar geochemical behavior. Most rare earth elements are found in the trivalent oxidation state, so the 3+ oxidation state. But europium can actually be found in the divalent, the 2+. And cerium, don't get me started talking about cerium, it can exist as the 3+ and the 4+ state, the tetravalent state. So when I was working at Lynas, cerium was my personal enemy. It is quite a unique and challenging element to get to behave. Now, rare earth elements are often categorized into 2 subgroups. So we've got the light rare earth elements and the heavy rare earth elements. Not very exciting names. But lanthanum to europium, so 57 to 63 in terms of atomic number, they're considered as the light rare earths. And gadolinium upwards, including yttrium, are considered as the heavy rare earths. And scandium is often left on its own. It's not called a light or a heavy. Now, why do we separate them into two groups? Why don't we just call them rare earths? Well, there's quite a bit of difference in the way we mine and where we find them, and also how we use them. In general, light rare earth elements are way more abundant than heavy rare earth elements. Now, none of the rare earth elements occur in their native elemental form. So it's not like gold where you'll go out and find a nugget of gold. They're found in the form of minerals such as phosphates, silicates, carbonates, oxides, halides. And rare earth elements are not actually rare. Not in terms of abundance. They're actually quite common. But they do usually occur in really low concentrations and found mixed in with other stuff. So they're usually mixed together with one another. You usually get lots of rare earths in one area, and they're usually or often tied up with radioactive elements like uranium and thorium. So they can be a bit of a mess to sort out. Now, I said they're quite common. Actually, the light rare earths have similar abundances in the Earth's crust as chromium, nickel, copper, zinc, tin, tungsten, lead, the list goes on. For example, cerium, the abundance of cerium is almost exactly the same as the abundance of copper. So you can see that the word rare implies that rare earth elements are not commonly concentrated in an ore deposit, an economic ore deposit. And the viable deposits that are around the world are really quite low concentrations. Okay, so now we know why we call them rare. We know there are two groups. Why are they the thing of the moment? Look, at the moment, the world is going through the biggest transformation the mining industry has undergone in decades. And rare earth elements are a critical component of this. They're changing the landscape of energy production. Transition to green energy is the big thing right now. Two of the light rare earths, these are praseodymium and neodymium. I'm not going to pronounce them again, and you certainly don't need to pronounce them. In the industry, PRND, we just use their elemental symbols. We don't have to try and get those words out there. Challenging for everyone to pronounce. So PR and ND are attracting new interest because of new sources and new extraction techniques, and also for their potential use in new technologies. And the reason why the light rare earths are listed as critical minerals is because the projected demand for these elements is way outstripping the possible supply. Now, some of the other light rare earths, lanthanum for example, is used in large quantities as well. Let's have a look at what their uses are in a bit more detail. So lanthanum, the large use of lanthanum is coming back to the use in a nickel metal hydride rechargeable battery. So a Toyota Prius battery, for example, has about 10 kilos of lanthanum required to produce it. That's significant. One battery, 10 kilos of lanthanum. PR and ND are really very much the go-to light rare earths at the moment. So PR is used, or both of them are actually used in permanent magnets. PR is used in high intensity permanent magnets, and in particular used in electric motors and generators, used in hybrid cars and wind turbines. So now we've got our hybrid vehicles, our electric vehicles, and also our wind turbines. So you can see how vital this is to the transition to green energy. And neodymium ND is used also in permanent magnets. It's actually got the ability, it's been reported to have the ability to lift 1,000 times its own weight in magnetic strength. I mean, I just can't even get my head around that. But ND is used in so many places. It's really something you will have around you all the time. It's in your computer, it's in your mobile phone, it's in medical equipment, it's in electric vehicles, wind turbines, it's also in your audio systems. So I hope you can start to see why rare earths are so important right now, the critical mineral nature going forward, why every country is trying to secure rare earth deposits, why their exploration of rare earths is paramount to the industry, and why I think there's an awesome opportunity, career opportunity for mining industry professionals, and why they are not actually rare. Now, the backstory to rare earths is what I find so fascinating. The backstory and the geopolitical environment. And that will be the topic of my next podcast. We'll do some speaking practice this week about that. And then next week we'll get into the backstory and the geopolitics. And then in the third week, we will get into some more of the complexity in the language, and a little bit more complexity about unique parameters or characteristics of rare earths, before we get into our fourth week, our group discussion, which will be so much fun. I hope you stay with me for the entire 3 weeks if you're not joining us in the program, and 4 weeks if you are.